Hey guys, my name is Martin and I'm reacting to all kind of videos. Today we are going to react on American homes versus European homes, and me as a European, yeah, I can tell a lot of about European homes, houses, flats, apartments, whatever. I was living in the apartments, I'm living right now in the house. So yeah, I'm really excited about this video. We will try to compare because we have these jokes about US houses that they are made out of paper. Which I guess it's true sometimes. But yeah, let's go. Let's compare these two different kinds of houses, and maybe I will be surprised about the differences. And yeah, let's go for that. And yeah, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and let's go.
Have you ever noticed that American houses are mostly made of wood? Well, in Europe, homes are built from brick, stone, or concrete. Well, you're not alone. People around the world find this pretty weird. Is it just because Americans love the sound of creaky floors? Is there a secret deal with lumber industry? Or is there actually a real person behind this? When I first came to the US, I was shocked to see how many houses were built out of wood. Where I'm from, homes are solid. That lasts for generations. But here, a strong wind, and let's just say you might wake up to find your house has changed addresses overnight. So,
That's true. That's true. And it's what a lot of Europeans are allowed to tell is that US houses are from wood because it is much cheaper to build them, and because there is like a lot of strong winds, hurricanes, tornadoes. Yeah, it's much more easier to rebuild the wooden house than a brick house. But on the other side, there was a really big tornado like 4 years ago in South Moravia, that is in Czech Republic, Central Europe, and there were the whole villages destroyed, and the people's houses were made out of the bricks, or concrete bricks. I don't know how it's called, but yeah, it was not made out of the wood. A lot of houses were destroyed even when it was made out of the bricks, and and even like the roofs or the roof frames is made out of the wood. And yeah,
why do Americans build this way? Is it history, economics, climate, or just because they want to rebuild their houses every 50 years? Before we break this down, hit the like button, subscribe. I like an American house, your support won't blow away in a storm. To understand why American homes are built with wood, we have to go back, way back, to a time when America had more trees than people, and I mean a lot more. When European settlers arrived, they found endless forests stretching for miles. Wood was everywhere. It was the most affordable, easy material to use at the time. So what did they do? They built homes fast. Colonial America was covered in forest. East Coast was a giant lumberyard with oak, pine, cedar, and redwood growing in abundance. Unlike in Europe, where timber was already scarce and expensive, here was free for the taking. Early settlers built log cabins because they were quick, easy, and didn't require advanced tools. In Europe, deforestation was already a problem, and stone brick was more accessible and durable. People
depends on the region. There are regions where in the past the wooden houses were the traditional and much more common. I'm in the region where there was that deforestation kind of, and a lot of agricultural fields, and yeah, this was mainly where I live. It's mainly agricultural landscape or land. So that's why here it was houses made mainly out of bricks and stones, but much more eastern part of my country, the houses there were traditionally built out of the wood. So it depends, I guess it depends where you live.
They're built for generations, while in America, the focus was on speed and survival. In England, for example, laws heavily regulated who could cut down trees, but in America, if you had an axe, you had lumber. In the 1800s, Americans also developed a new way to build houses, the balloon frame technique. Instead of using heavy timber beams like old log cabins, this method used lightweight 2x4 wooden studs, making houses faster and cheaper to build. This technique spread like wildfire because it didn't require highly skilled labor. Anyone could do it. That had a big impact on American housing. Entire towns popped up almost overnight during westward expansion. In contrast, European masonry houses require skilled masons.
This doesn't look like a house anywhere in Europe, like this image. Looks like, the American like house, the more expensive one.
in weeks, or even months to complete. The expansion of railroads in the 19th century made it even easier to transport massive amounts of lumber across the country. Lumber mills exploded, turning America into a wood-building powerhouse. During the gold rush in 1849, another boom period, settlers needed houses ASAP. They didn't have time to wait for bricks to be made or stone to be cut. Wood was fast, cheap, and available. Alright, so history explains why Americans started building with wood. But why do we still do it today? I mean, it's not like the US ran out of bricks. Well, part of the answer comes down to something we can't control: Mother Nature. If you live in Europe, your biggest threat to your house might be a landslide or a flood. But in the US, tornadoes, hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfire.
Yeah, I guess I was talking
You name it,
about
we
this.
got it. The US gets over 1,000 tornadoes a year, while most of Europe gets fewer than 100. Tornado Alley in Midwest experiences massive storms every year, and brick houses don't handle tornadoes well. Brick homes collapse in chunks, while wood frame houses tend to flex and break apart in smaller pieces. In a tornado, you'd rather have a roof fly off like a frisbee than have a brick wall give you unplanned home renovation. Florida and the Gulf Coast get hit by hurricanes constantly, and wood is easier to rebuild quickly. Some newer homes use hurricane-resistant materials, but most of the US still sticks to wood for cost reasons. California, the Pacific Northwest, and even the Midwest are all set at risk of major earthquakes. Brick and concrete are rigid, meaning they crack and collapse easily during a quake. Wood frame houses can sway and absorb energy better than stone or brick. That's why places like Los Angeles still prefer wood frame houses, even if they could afford to build in concrete. Also, wildfire is another reason why we use wood. Wait, doesn't wood burn? It does, but here's the surprising part. Brick and concrete aren't fireproof either. Inside most modern houses, there's still wood framing under the surface. Plus, rebuilding after wildfire needs to be fast, and wood is quicker and cheaper to work with. Some fire-resistant materials are being used in modern construction, but cost keeps most homes wood-based. Alright, so we know history and natural disasters play a role in America's love for wooden houses, but here's the real kicker. Even if there were no tornadoes, hurricanes, or earthquakes, Americans would still build with wood. Why? Because it's cheap. When it comes to building houses, wood is faster, cheaper, and easier to work with than brick or concrete. In America, time is money, which is why we rather slap some wood together and call it a house than wait months for bricks to dry. The US has some of the largest forests in the world and a massive timber industry. This makes wood readily available and expensive compared to brick, which requires firing, kilns, transport, and skilled labor. Brick and concrete are pricier for a reason. Bricks are heavy, require special production, and need skilled masons to install. Concrete is strong, but also needs reinforcement, curing time, and specialized labor. In a fast-moving housing market like the US, builders prefer speed and affordability over long-time durability. Americans like to build fast, and wood frame house can be built in weeks. They can probably go from foundation to under a roof in a month. Prefabricated components make it even faster. You can build entire neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's very fast. Like the building the houses in the US, it's crazy how fast it can get. In my country, it takes at least month, if not years. My parents were building our house for 2 years, but I would even say like average time spent for building a house in my country is 1 to 2 years. It takes around 1 to 2 years, if not more. Some people are building their houses much longer, I must say, mainly because of the problems with the like legal problems and money problems, you know. So, you know, when we were as a kid, I was watching this home renovation, or they did not renovate the house, they just tear it down and build a new one, and it was in like 10 days or in a week, which is crazy. Like that would never happen in Slovakia. No.
It's in weeks. On the other hand, brick and concrete takes way longer. European homes take months or even years to complete because of the masonry work. Americans move more often, so houses are expected to last multiple generations like in Europe. After World War II, America needed millions of homes fast to accommodate returning soldiers and their families. The suburban boom of 1950s led to mass-produced wood-frame houses built quickly and affordably. Companies like Louis Vuitton pioneered cookie-cutter suburbs, where entire neighborhoods were built assembly line style, all with wood. Is there a reason to change everything now? Some modern construction is shifting toward concrete.
In the past, like after World War II, there was a need for housing too in former socialist Czechoslovakia, and instead of building like suburbs like these in the cities, there was built big residential area where there was a lot of flats, apartments, a block of flats which was pre-made in some kind of factory, and then it was assembled on the place. But yeah, it was made out of, I don't know, I think it was concrete. and it was like concrete panels that were then assembled, and it was like really fast way uh, how to build a lot of apartments for a short period of time. But as we can see nowadays, if you ever will be in Eastern Europe or Central Europe, Eastern Europe, right, and you will see this block of flats, these apartments, you will see that it's there is no privacy in that kind of buildings. But a lot of people still wants to live there, and they are still buying the apartments there even when the building is around 50 years old. And it just, I think that the age that it should be okay to still live in those buildings is around 100 years. So yeah, why not? But it's not very, you have to be used to living in that kind of environment, and I don't know if I would be able to live in that kind of environment, because I was actually living for 3 years in the dorms that were built this way, out of these concrete panels, and you could hear absolutely everything, all your classmates doing all kind of stuff. So try to imagine living with in this kind of apartment with someone who likes to move furniture all the time.
And steel, but wood is still dominant because of the cost and tradition. The U.S. housing market prioritizes affordability and speed, not multi-generational durability like in Europe. So, wood is cheaper, faster, and easier to work with. But there's another factor.
Maybe it's good to say that nowadays, like multi-generational houses are not quite a thing nowadays. Or better say, a lot of young people want to move to the city, so they are selling their houses, or if they inherit the house, they will sell it and they will just go to the city. Or, it happens all around the globe that people are moving from smaller city, or better say even like rural areas, to bigger cities for life, work, and education. Yeah. Sometimes you can still see these giant houses which are like multi-generational, or you can inherit the house from your parents. Still a lot of people owns like two real estates, which is interesting for me. But yeah, it was quite a common even during like socialist time. People own, like, for example, apartment and some kind of cottage, or weekend house or something like that, somewhere in the mountains and rural areas. So
Play here. Culture. In Europe, homes are built to last centuries. In America, houses are built to...
Definitely not. They are not built to last centuries. A lot of houses I remember as a kid, and were built during like 50s in last century or 60s, are already tear down and new houses are built there. A lot of these houses, at least in Central Europe, depends what kind of resources and materials were available in the time. But I know that some houses were poorly built, but yeah.
be lived in for a few decades, then either renovated or replaced. And that says a lot about how Americans view home ownership. Many European families inherit homes that have been in the family for generations. Brick and stone homes are expensive up front, but it means to last lifetimes. In America, homes are an investment. US has a much higher rate of people moving than Europe. Houses are built with expectations of selling or renovating within a few decades. The goal is often resale value, not passing a house down for 100 plus years. Americans like DIY renovations because what's a weekend without a Home Depot run and an unfinished project? Wood frame houses are easier to modify and renovate, leading to a huge do-it-yourself home improvement culture in the US. Shows like Fixer Upper and DIY Network showcase how Americans expect to customize or remodel their homes over time. Europeans prefer long-term stability. In Europe, home renovations are less common because the homes are built solid from the start. Many people prefer to buy a home once and live in it for a life rather than constantly renovating. We know that America is the land of suburbs. The US has vast open land, making it easy to build sprawling suburbs and cheaper wood-based homes. Car culture means people don't need to live in dense urban brick buildings like in Europe. And in Europe, cities are built for walkability. European cities are denser, meaning homes are often attached row houses or apartment buildings made of brick or stone. Public transportation in walkable cities mean homes are built vertically instead of sprawling out. So, in the end of the day, Americans and Europeans build differently because they think differently about home ownership. In the US, houses are short-term investment The people expand to modify, flip, or rebuild. In Europe, homes are long-term structures built to withstand centuries. Is one approach better than the other? Well, that depends. Do you value long-term durability, or do you prefer affordability and flexibility? Either way, both styles says a lot about a culture that created them. But here's the real question. Which approach do you prefer? Would you rather live in a solid stone house passed down for a generation, or a cozy wooden home you can remodel anytime? Drop a comment below. Are you team brick fortress or team hope this house survives the next storm? Unless, of course, you prefer a tent, then all bets are off.
I would say, like, saying that would you live in the stone house, that's very archaic way of, I would say, living in Europe, because the houses built, I would say, in 20th centuries are not made out of the stone. You know, it's not this like English countryside or French countryside with these old hundreds and hundreds year old houses that some family inheriting from generation to generation for next 300 years. A lot of houses are quite new, not more than 50 years, mainly after World War II. Lot of houses were destroyed in countryside, in the cities. Everything was built anew, brand new, or a lot of stuff. So yeah, but yeah, I really like this video. I really enjoyed the video. We learned the differences between the ways of building houses in US and in Europe, and yeah, I don't know what I would choose nowadays. If the wooden house would be much more affordable, I would go for a wooden house. Of course, with it would have to be built from like long-lasting materials, because I don't really want build a new house after 50 years. I want to have that house as long as possible. But yeah, that could be tricky. And otherwise, yeah, I would go for European style house if it would be more affordable this way, or if the European style house would be much more affordable, I would always go for European style house, because yeah, I'm European. I'm from Europe. But yeah, we will see about the future. What kind of house one day I'm going to build for myself or buy for myself. But for now, I have my bedroom. Yeah, guys, I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I will really appreciate it, and have a nice day. Goodbye, bye, and ciao.